I never thought I'd be the man who'd betray my wife in a room full of old memories. My name's Thomas, and this is my confession, raw and unfiltered, a story of desire so sharp it sliced through my soul and left me in ruins. If you're watching, you're already hooked, caught in a sin that feels like a whisper until it's a scream in your heart. This isn't about love or redemption, it's about temptation, the kind that blinds you and dares you to leap. Stay with me because this one's going to unravel you. It's a tale of nostalgia, lust, and a betrayal I couldn't bury. It was a warm October evening in Charleston, South Carolina, the air heavy with salt and history. I was 44, driving my daughter Lily, 17, to her high school reunion's family night at a grand hotel ballroom, all chandeliers and polished wood. My wife, Claire, was home nursing a cold, trusting me to chaperone. Lily's friend Emma's mother, Rachel, was there, a 42-year-old widow, her elegance sharpened by grief, her black dress hugging curves that stirred something I'd buried years ago. Rachel and I had history, a fleeting college fling before Claire, a spark we'd doused but never forgot. That night, she caught my eye across the ballroom, her smile subtle, her green eyes piercing through the crowd. I was in a suit, my wedding ring glinting, a weight I ignored, as Lily ran off with Emma, leaving me with Rachel near the bar. "You haven't changed, Thomas," she said, her voice low, teasing as she sipped her wine, her fingers brushing mine. My pulse raced, her perfume jasmine and amber hitting me like a spark. The ballroom pulsed with old pop hits, the crowd a blur of laughter and nostalgia. Rachel leaned closer, her dress catching the chandelier's glow, her words laced with memory. "Remember us," she whispered, her hand grazing my arm, a touch light but electric. I told myself to pull back, to think of Claire, but the wine, the music, her presence, it was too much. My breath caught as she looked at me, her eyes daring, her lips curved. "You're married," she said, glancing at my ring, her tone more invitation than warning. I nodded, my throat tight, my mind screaming to stop. "Does she still light your fire?" she asked, stepping closer, her dress brushing my leg, outlining a body I tried not to see. The question was a flame igniting a heat I'd buried under years of routine. I didn't answer, but my silence was a confession. Her smile was slow, dangerous, like she'd already claimed me. The chandeliers dimmed the music, a soft hum, and I felt the world tilt. The ballroom's edges blurred the crowd, fading the night alive with possibility. Rachel's hand grazed my wrist, her fingers warm against my skin, a spark that set my nerves ablaze. My heart pounded, a traitor, as her eyes held mine, daring me to fall. "Tell me to stop," she whispered, her lips close, her breath hot with wine and want. I didn't. My hands found her waist, the silk soft under my fingers, her body pressing closer. The music swelled, the lights flickered, and I was already lost. Her kiss was a collision, fierce and hungry, tasting of wine and sin. My hands slid up her back, pulling her against me, the bar counter cool behind her. The night pulsed, the crowd oblivious, as her lips moved to my neck, her teeth grazing each bite, a pulse of pleasure and pain. I was drowning, and Rachel was the tide pulling me into a sea of want. Claire's face, Lily's laughter faded, leaving only her heat, my hunger. Her kiss was a wildfire burning through every thought of Claire. Rachel's hands were bold, tugging at my tie, her fingers grazing my skin through my shirt. The ballroom was a haze, the chandeliers casting shadows that danced like secrets. My hands roamed her waist, the silk dress slipping under my fingers, revealing skin that burned under my touch. The music's rhythm matched my racing heart, the air thick with jasmine and desire. Her lips were everywhere, my jaw, my throat, each kiss a claim, each touch a vow broken. I pulled her toward a side hallway, the velvet curtains shielding us from the crowd. Her dress was a tease, sliding up as she pressed against me, revealing lace that made my breath catch. My hands slid lower, tracing her hips, her gasps sharp in the quiet space. The guilt was there, cold and sharp, but it only fueled the fire, made every touch more desperate, more forbidden. Her hands were on my chest now, unbuttoning my shirt, her nails leaving trails of fire on my skin. The hallway was our world, the reunion a distant hum. I pushed her against the wall, her legs wrapping around me, the lace a tease I couldn't resist. Her lips found mine again, hungry, demanding tasting of jasmine and want. My hands slid under her lace, her skin warm and soft, her breath hitching as my fingers explored. The chandelier's light filtered through, painting us in golden shadow, turning our sin into something almost beautiful. But it wasn't. It was raw, reckless, a collision of need and betrayal. "Thomas," she murmured my name, a spell pulling me deeper. My fingers tangled in her hair, her body arching into mine, a demand I couldn't resist. The night was suffocating, the music a faint pulse as my hands gripped her thighs, her lace a barrier I wanted to tear away. The pleasure was building a storm of its own, raw and relentless, edged with the guilt of betraying Claire. When it happened, it was a collision, a wave crashing over us. Her cries were sharp, muffled by the curtains, my hands holding her tight, our bodies moving as one. The pleasure was fierce, overwhelming, a betrayal that felt like salvation. The wall creaked, the night heavy with our heat, my sin unfolding. The ballroom hummed indifferent as I crossed a line I'd never meant to touch. It was everything, every ache, every want, every secret I'd buried. Afterward, we stayed there, tangled, breathless, the air heavy with the scent of jasmine in us. Rachel's hair spilled across my shoulder, her fingers tracing my jaw, her eyes half closed with satisfaction. The guilt crashed in a tidal wave, but her warmth held it at bay, a lie I wanted to believe. "This can't happen again," I said, my voice rough, unconvincing. She laughed low and wicked, her lips brushing my ear. "You don't mean that," she said, and damn her, she was right. The Charleston night lingered, and so did the weight of my betrayal. I left the hallway. My suit straightened, Rachel's scent, jasmine and sin clinging to me. Lily was back in the ballroom laughing with Emma, her trust a knife in my chest. I tried to be the father she knew, smiling, dancing with her, but Rachel's touch haunted me, her face in every shadow, every dream. The guilt was a beast clawing at me, but her fire burned brighter, a flame I couldn't douse. I saw Rachel again the next evening, when Lily invited Emma over for dinner. Claire was still sick, staying upstairs oblivious. Rachel dropped Emma off her eyes, catching mine in the foyer, her smile subtle but loaded. I told myself to stay distant to protect Claire, but when Lily and Emma went to the backyard, Rachel lingered. "We need to talk," she whispered, her hand grazing my arm, reigniting the spark. She texted later, midnight, "Your study." I went the night thick with salt, her silhouette waiting in the dark. The study was quiet, the air heavy with books and desire, her dress discarded, her skin glowing in the lamplight. Her kiss was fiercer now, desperate, her hands tearing at my shirt. My hands roamed her body, greedy, memorizing every curve, every shudder. The ocean's hum hid our sin, but the guilt was sharper, a blade I couldn't outrun. Her lips found my throat, her hands sliding under my belt, her touch a brand I'd never erase. Lily grew suspicious. "You're acting strange, Dad," she said one night, her eyes searching mine. I froze, her trust a contrast to my betrayal. "Just tired," I lied, my voice tight, my mind flashing to the study, Rachel's hands on my skin. Her frown deepened, and I feared she saw the truth. "I love you," she said, and the words were a weight crushing me. Rachel pushed further. "Leave her," she said, her voice rough, her hands gripping my shoulders in the study. "Leave Claire burn my life for a past I'd barely tasted." The idea was madness, but I saw it a life with Rachel wild and untamed. Then Lily's face flashed her trust, and I pulled away trembling. I told Rachel it was over. She stood in the study, her eyes blazing, her dress open. "You'll always want me," she said, her voice a challenge. She left a hairpin behind, silver and delicate, tucked into my desk. I should have thrown it away, but I kept it a secret that scorched. The Charleston heat lingered, and so did my hunger, a fire I couldn't quench. Lily confronted me. "What's this?" she asked, holding the hairpin, her voice trembling. I froze, my sin, unraveling her trust, a mirror of my guilt. I confessed not all but enough, admitting a moment of weakness. She cried, her face crumpling, and ran to Emma's, her silence deafening. Claire overheard, her eyes cold, saying she'd suspected. I was alone, the hairpin in my hand, Rachel's scent, a ghost I'd never escape. This is my story, a warning to anyone who thinks they can play with fire and not get burned. If you've watched this far, you know that hunger, that ache for what you shouldn't touch. So hit that subscribe button, drop a comment, call me a fool, a sinner, or just a father who fell. Like the video or don't, but share it with someone who's felt temptation's pull. Check out my other stories, they're just as raw, just as real. Ever chased a forbidden spark? Spill your secrets below. I'm listening and I've been there.